Felwar Stone and War Elemental. We'll dump Felwar Stone because we can cast this War Elemental right now, which is very exciting. I love this card. Today on Commander Replay, we get to play War Elemental as Tori D'avenant makes it a big red trample-y creature. Next on Commander Replay. Hey guys, there's two great ways to support the channel. All links are in the description below. Welcome back everyone, playing some Tori D'avenant Fury Rider today. Let's take a look at this opener. Opener with Weathered Wayfarer is a pretty good time. Yeah, I think I like this hand a lot. Let's keep. We got some ramp here. We can get a card draw or ramp equipment with Stoneforge Mystic if we need to. We've got Aurelia in the late game, which is always really good. And with this commander in particular, extra combat's gonna be really good. Even more so than usual. That's a commander's plate for fish. Yeah, those can get scary. What is it, protection from everything you're not? Well, they're playing red and white, so not too bad for us, but still can be concerning. That is Akiri Jeska. That's a very strong pairing right there. That means that she can kill you with minimal things on board. Anyway, we're going to play that Plains and drop in the Weathered Wayfarer. Since we have a bit of ramp and we have a little bit of land stuff, I'm thinking it might be Mask of Memory with the Stoneforge Mystic. Let's give our commander a read. It's Tori D'avenant Fury Rider, 4 mana for a 3/3 with Vigilance and Trample. When it attacks, all other attacking creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Other red creatures you control gain Trample, and untap other white attacking creatures you control. So it's a colors matter type commander, which is pretty cool. Uh-oh. Almost messed things up here. Start by turning off auto yields. Are we attacking? I'm gonna go... Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to poke someone. We'll poke Delta. I think I'm going to get the Stoneforge Mystic down right here. Kind of trying to decide between activating this thing or going for the Stoneforge Mask of Memory play, but I think I'm going to do the Mask of Memory play. This just kind of gets more things going, and we have a couple lands in hand right now, so we don't need to... We're not dying for a land yet, but I'll probably... Still going to be awkward just because the way that our mana shapes up right here... Oh, you know what we need to do? If we get Ancient Tomb, we can do everything we want next turn. Okay. Yeah, I like that. We have a plan now. Get the Mask of Memory, and we'll pass like that. So if we get Ancient Tomb... No, does that still put us one short? We get Ancient Tomb with this, spending 1. We play the Ancient Tomb, that's 3. Oh, yeah, no, that works. Cool. Yeah, I think I like this setup. Although, I guess we could have... No, because, yeah, if we did it this turn, we wouldn't be able to get the Stoneforge Mystic down. But, yeah, this is a cool little commander. It's got the Colors Matter theme. I've done some stuff like this before, so we can take a quick peek at the deck while opponents are taking their turn here as Livio comes in. So a lot of my inspiration came from the Aurelia Exemplar Justice deck that I built, that I 1 have in paper and 2 have played online, at least a few times at this point. But the idea of that deck was basically just big red creatures, and then you give them trample, and then they hit really hard, and that does a lot of damage. So I'm doing a lot of the same thing here, just that there is a little bit more incentive to be red and white in this deck, so we do have some of the better multicolor Boros cards in here. Both Aurelias. Balefire Liege is solid for this deck, I think. Venerable Warsinger is a very cool piece of reanimation. And there's more that you can add. Iroas is obviously insane. There's more that you can add, but I was trying to get some other card choices into the deck. Fun things like Malignus, Tyrant's Familiar, Nullspine Dragon. Cards that I don't typically get to run a lot anymore. You could very easily put Gisela up here, and Gisela will probably win you some amount of games all on her own, because that's what she does. But yeah, I was trying to vary the card pool a little bit so it's not just the same exact things I play in every single deck. So I do have a few less staples than usual. Did no one play a third? Wow, really? No one played a third land? Oh my god. Killing me. Well, we did draw another land, though. We're playing that kind of game. There's a green deck at the table. Like, what? Akiri is into play, though. We should be very careful about that. In fact, yeah, we're not even going to do the Mask of Memory thing this turn. We are going to play an Arid Mesa and sit on all of our effects, I think? Because, like, Fish could probably just delete someone next turn. And I probably won't let that happen. Yeah, okay, I like this. We can flash the Mask of Memory in at the end step, also leaving up the Weathered Wayfarer, assuming someone gets to a 4th land, but we're now ahead on lands. There's a Farhaven Elf. Perfect. I was going to be really annoyed if there was a green deck at the table and we had more lands than everyone. Unable to activate this Weathered Wayfarer. I think I've talked about it before, but I played a game with Mono White Border once where he won the dice roll, and he's like, nope, I'm choosing not to go first. And he ended up going last as a result, because he's like, that literally shuts off all of my ramp. I'm like, that's pretty rough. Though, if you have me at a table, like, I would say probably 7 or 8 times out of 10, like, I'm going to have more lands than the turn count. So, you know, if he is keen to that fact, he probably still could have gone first and still ramped without giving up too much of his stuff. There's Rivaz of the Claw coming into play. We'll take a look at that one. Opponent's commander coming in, Rivaz of the Claw. Let's take a look at it. That is 3 mana for a 3/3, has Menace. Tap it, add 2 mana and any combination of colors, spend it only on dragon spells. Once during each of your turns, you may cast a dragon creature spell from your graveyard. Whenever you cast a dragon creature spell from your graveyard, it gains, when this creature dies, exile it. That's kind of cool. So, it does a bunch of dragon stuff. If you want to do Rakdos Dragons, looks like a pretty cool little commander for it. Gives you mana. I mean, it's a Worn Power. It's better than a Worn Power Stone. In the sense that it's colored mana. That can get your dragons going really quickly. Seems good. Fish equips the commander's plate. Who's getting blasted? That'd be us. Changes her mind. Goes over to Flintlock. Okay. Takes a shot for 6. We have some things to do here at the end step, so we'll crack this Arid Mesa. Get I think we go over the Sacred Foundry. Untapped. Activate Stoneforge Mystic. We no longer have any good attacks for the Mask of Memory, which is kind of unfortunate, and I was worried that might happen, but I did want to be very cautious in case Fish pulled a rabbit out of a hat, and got Akiri suited up with Jeska and that whole thing. I didn't want to get one shot out of the game, so yeah, no. We'll activate the Weather Wayfarer, getting the Ancient Tomb. Now, the key will be to not activate Ancient Tomb every single turn of this game. That'll put us on that Sun Titan pretty quickly, and even just getting a land back be a decent game right here, I think. What are we doing this turn? I'll just play the Ancient Tomb. Let's get the Hazard's Monument into play. Hazard's Monument not going to help us at all with this Blade Historian. That is a lot of colored mana. We'll put the mask on the Stoneforge Mystic. No attacks anywhere, so we'll just stay put. Sit on our swords, make sure we don't die. At this stage of the game, I'd probably keep someone else alive too, just because I know how insanely brutal this can be. Take a look at what our other opponents are playing today. First up is Sergeant Flintlock piloting Kodama of the East Tree, along with Livio, Oathsworn Sentinel. Kodama's insane. That's a hold on to the roof type commander. Once that's in play, things get wild. Livio, on the other hand, from the times that I've seen it, tends to be a little bit underwhelming. It's not to say you can't do fun things with it, but it takes a lot of mana. I don't know why those activation costs are so expensive. They should be far less, especially since one involves tapping. Like, they overcosted this card too much. It's very resource intensive to use. There's a Leonin Relic Warder. I have to imagine that goes after the Commander's Plate. I don't think Mask of Memory is all that threatening. Yep, there it goes. And that's usually the strength of Mask of Memory, is that most of the time it's just not good enough to eat removal. As long as your opponents have some other artifact or enchantment in play, this probably isn't the most threatening thing. Now, there's times where I've had it shot and it just takes me out of the game, so that's definitely a thing, but Commander's Plate, far scarier. Most enchantments, just about any enchantment that people play these days, probably going to be scarier than Mask of Memory. Thinking about the Rhystic Studies and Grave Packs of the world. That's a deflecting swat. I'm sure I'm not going to love this. That might get our Mask of Memory. Oh, is this going to be the out-of-sequence thing? They're going after the Hazard's Monument. Yeah, it's going to be the out-of-sequence exile, too. Don't love that. Well, at least we got rid of the deflecting swat, because now that would be standing in the way of swordsing Akiri, which is not something I'm thrilled about, so probably good to get that removal usage out. Oh, opponent choosing. Ooh. You may exile it. Opponent chose not to. Send a little heart emoji over to Flintlock. Love it. This actually might be a situation where blocking with Stoneforge Mystic and getting it back with Sun Titan might be a pretty good idea, because then we can get Sword of Hearthstone, which will help us a lot against what Fish is doing, and also against the Livio deck. Sword of the Animist and equip to the Rivaz. Yeah, it's a 4/4. We look like a pretty tasty target, honestly. If opponent does go on the attack like they probably should right here, then yeah, here they go. They're going over to Fish. Fish has protection from black, so I'm curious. Oh, Menace. Ha ha ha. There we go. Figured it out. That being the case, I'll probably try to keep the Stoneforge Mystic alive now, at least for a turn, just because we have an open shot over here. If we didn't have an open attack, I'd probably block with this and let it go and try to do the Sun Titan thing just to get a better equipment for kind of the late game here. Because, yeah, if everyone has a bunch of creatures in play, Mask of Memory isn't the best until we kind of get some of our bigger stuff with Trample going. Oh, some other cute little tricks in this deck. We do have a Painter Servant, a card that I need to get in paper for my Aurelia Exemplar deck. So most of the creatures in this deck are red. This can also make them white in addition to that color. So then we can get both halves of our commander, which is pretty cool. I looked the other day. The paper cost of Painter Servant is like $70. Brutal. That's a Stoneforge Mystic for Fish. Yeah, that's not what you want to see. What is Fish going for? So I'm 4 mana, so a Sword of X and Y is a little awkward right here, but you probably still get one. Goes for a Tenza. Yeah, Tenza is a magic card. Tenza is a magic card. Equips the Tenza. That's going to be a lot of damage. And importantly, when Jeska comes down, that'll be very easy lethal damage. This one's coming our way. Yeah, that's just going to be the swords. Get this out of there. And this will set up a nice little tempo play on Fish. She'll have to spend most of next turn recasting, but if she hits some sort of like ramp card, like a Jeska's Will, could be bad news. She might be into everything all at once, which wouldn't be great. There's a Dolmen Gate. It's a nice little pickup. I guess the question is, how do we keep ourselves safe from everything? Did I forget to activate the Weather Wayfarer? We might have used all the mana. That was 3. Equip the thing. I think we used all the mana. I think it's fine. Let's go to combat. Let's swing into Delta. Get that poke for 1. Draw those cards. Use the ability. Tithe and Showdown of the Skulls. What's the land count look like? 4. Oh, man. We are even on lands with opponents, which means I think we probably just discard Tithe. It's also going to shut off our Weathered Wayfarer, unfortunately. Yeah, discard the Tithe, I think. Play the Mountain. We do have enough for Sun Titan. I think we get the Sun Titan, because even at the absolute worst case, we still ramp a card. I feel good about what's in our hand, so we're not going to do the loot thing. Getting Arid Mesa, and this is actually a pretty good turn to get Mistveil Plains. And we'll pass like that. Hedron Archive for opponent. Unfortunately, non-land-based ramp. See, like I said, 7 or 8 times out of 10, it's turn 5. We're on 6 lands, and one of them's a double land, right? So ideally, you're able to get your lands ahead of the turn count in every game, but, sometimes it just doesn't pan out. You just draw a weird hand that you're forced to keep for one reason or another. But, yeah, given enough time, usually my land count will exceed the turns. One of the things I keep thinking about is, like, there are still a lot of people out there that don't run nearly enough ramp, and maybe it's because I've been watching, like, a decent amount of competitive StarCraft 2, but one of the things in StarCraft 2 is just, like, they're constantly comparing SCV count, because the more SCVs you have, the more resources you can generate.
At this point, though, we're going up to, 73 probes versus 46. And I don't think... good pickup. I don't think that's where you want to be as Björn here. He's losing a little bit too many of those workers, and it's certainly going to make it hard for him to continuously play this game.
And generally speaking, the player that can generate more resources will probably win the game. Now, there's a lot of other little nuances that go into that game, but it very much rings true to Commander, right? If you have the most resources, there's a pretty good chance you're going to win the game. It's not a foregone conclusion, and people can gang up on you and stuff, but, like, they probably have to work really hard to not lose to you if you have excessive resource production. So when you generate more resources, you're giving yourself a really good opportunity to win the game. That's a Chandra Torch of Defiance. Cool little card. And also makes me happy that Fish didn't just recast her commander and try to set up for a big lethal shot next turn, kind of going for more of a value-y thing right here, I think. So I can get down with that. Fish shoots the Rivaz of the Claw. So Dragon Commander going down. But they got a Sword of the Animist in there, and they've got a Burnish Heart in play, so yeah, they'll be on Dragon Mana very, very soon. Ooh, Lion Sash. Seems good against graveyard stuff. Fish is fortunately out of mana, so we can get at least one more thing with the Sun Titan. That's a Fairy's Protection. That is a game-winning type card. Once again, no good attacks for the Stoneforge Mystic. Let's do this. Let's move the Mask over to Sun Titan. We could drop this thing in, but I don't think I'm ready for that yet. I think I want to try to get our commander this turn. Let's get the Dolmen Gate into play. I don't think Fish will be able to recast her commander, give it haste, and get Jeska all in the same turn, so I think we can kind of slow roll things here, right here. I'm going to go to Fish's face in hopes of getting the Mask trigger. Not sure if she'll block or not. Get back the Arid Mesa. Use the ability. We'll get mountains. This is a very red, heavy kind of deck. Mask of Memory trigger. It worked. The gamble. Felwar Stone and War Elemental. We'll dump Felwar Stone because we can cast this War Elemental right now, which is very exciting. I love this card. We can loot if we want. We're not gonna because these cards are very good. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a War Elemental. Oh, I love this card. I'll read it in case you're not familiar with it. It's triple red for a 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless an opponent was dealt damage this turn, which they were. Whenever an opponent is dealt damage from anywhere, put that many +1/+1 counters on War Elemental. So if there's any kind of damage happening anywhere, this thing gets giant. Rex Sage. Okay, curious to see where this goes. After the Dolmen Gate. Okay. Yeah, wanting to slow us down a little bit. I get it. Can't do much about it. Could theoretically get it back with the Sun Titan, which I might. Thraben Inspector, yeah. Oh yeah, we're going to go for the Sword of the Animist on the Burnished Heart. Swing and then crack the Burnished Heart. 3 extra lands. Probably makes the most sense to come in our direction. I don't know if it... they could get into the Chandra. Fish doesn't have good blocks for that. Nah, they come our way, that's fine. Yep, here's the Sword of the Animist. We may actually be able to activate Weathered Wayfarer after all of that. Especially if they make a land drop. I think they said they missed the land drop last turn, so they probably don't have the land in hand. Yeah, they're just going to crack it straight away. Yeah, Weathered Wayfarer might be active. We'll see what happens here in a second. I think they're on 8 lands versus our 7. Yeah, should be good to activate the Wayfarer. And even if nothing else, like even if we just get a basic to discard it to the Mask of Memory, not a bad place to be. Although Flamekin Village might be our friend right here. Hainware Battlement's probably better, just because it'll come in untapped. This is an elemental, so if we got Flamekin Village last turn, we could have revealed it and brought in Flamekin Village untapped, which is always very exciting when you're able to do it, because I don't run that many elementals in my decks, but it's a fun moment when it happens. And I usually hype it up a lot while I'm on camera. I'm like, wait till you guys see this, right? And like, untapped Flamekin Village. I'm funny like that. Imperial Recruiter. Oh, this could be terrible. Let's see what this is going for. No one dealt any damage to each other, though, so War Elemental still at the same size, which is unfortunate. But God, man, if we went for like a... ooh, that thing's kind of wacky. Unfortunately, Delta's the only one without blockers. We don't have the trample thing up and going yet. What's Fish get? Gets Aethersworn Canonist. Okay. That will slow us down. And going to exile our Dolmen Gate, so that's not coming back. It's unfortunate. We playing the Canonist? Probably should, just because, like, we're starting to get mana. Delta's got some mana. Shutting off multiple plays a turn is a very good idea. Exiles the Arid Mesa. Yeah, we've cracked that one a bunch. Reconfigure. Okay. So the Canonist isn't coming down yet, which means we probably want to try to get some cards. We want to try to probably cast multiple things in a turn right here, just because we're probably going to lose that ability here in a second. This thing has Infect. Watch out for that. Swinging into Delta Fiend. I think that'll trigger the War Elemental, because they take the damage and then also take the counters. Right? There it is. Yep. 3 counters on War Elemental. Get this party started. Oh, God. Oh, I passed the turn. No. Someone do something. Someone do Flintlock. You killed me, Flintlock. That's unfortunate. I meant to activate the thing here at the end step, but got too excited. Hopefully the mana doesn't matter. It probably will. I feel like that mana's going to matter. Get the Hainware Battlements. Play the Hainware Battlements. Yeah, I think I really just want our commander, but this will be not the best with Aethersworn Canonist coming in, but I guess we still have the mask, so that's the thing. Yeah, let's get our commander in. God, the colors. Hazard's Monument, we can loot. Yeah, we still have really good cards in hand. No need to loot. Unfortunately... Okay, yeah. I was hoping to like kind of get the Tectonic Giant in this turn, but I think all we're going to be able to do is give our commander haste, and then we'll just sit on Teferi's Protection. Make sure nothing goes wrong. Go to combat. War Elemental over to Fish. I think I'm going to send this thing at the Planeswalker. We'll send this one into Delta. And I guess we have a free attack with this, so we'll send this one into Delta too. Sun Titan trigger. Let's get another land. Use the ability. Crack the land. Oh, now we could cast the Tectonic Giant, but then that's probably not worth the Teferi's Protection. We're probably just better on sitting on the Teferi's, because this is like... Teferi's into this is like essentially a game-winning position. Like, even if opponents have a board wipe, they're going to need... Someone's going to need an instant speed board wipe to go over the top of our Teferi's Protection. And You know, based on what people generally play on the channel, most people don't love Rout and Magma Quake as much as I do. So, the likelihood of that happening, it's not super high. But boy, do I love my instant speedboard wipes. We're going to trample over to the Chandra. It will survive, but I'm okay with that. Keeps it off of removal mode. They keep it in play. We get rid of the Stoneforge. So, yeah, that's all good. And this War Elemental is going to get large. There's a Mask of Memory. Draw 2 cards. Oh, that's a Chandra's Ignition. Oh, my. Well, we can't discard that. You know what? Honestly, Showdown of the Skalds isn't going to be great if Aethersworn Canonist comes down. This has 19 power, so looking very threatening for next turn. And like I said, opponents will need removal over the top of Teferis. I guess even a piece of instant speed removal in response to the Teferis would slow us down decently. Most of our chips are kind of in the Sun Titan and War Elemental basket, so if you blow up either of those, we're going to lose a bit. That's an Angel of Serenity. That is probably coming in our direction and is probably enough to make me use said Teferi's protection. Ha! Nice. Opponent used the City of Brass, took a damage, and it pumped up the thingy. Yeah, I mean, it's like gotta be, yeah, that's exactly what's gotta happen. So, you know, what's gotta happen right here is the old Teferi's protection. And our other 2 opponents are tapped out, so pretty good chance that they're gonna need instant speed stuff. They're gonna have to hold up their mana. I did tell opponents turn 8 before the game started, and it looks like this train is going to arrive exactly on schedule. Actually, I don't know if we're going to kill well, we could with the Chandra's Ignition. Yeah, Chandra's probably does it. Dragon Tempest, cool card. I need to get that from my Angels deck. I keep forgetting to do that, and Dragon Tempest keeps getting more and more expensive. I think it's only on a single printing, because it makes all flyers have haste. Won't get the Dragon mode with it, but still, 2 mana haste for your flyers, pretty good. Rivaz back to play. Yep. Opponent has played 0 dragons so far. I mean, they've ramped like crazy. I just can't even imagine what they're on, unless they're sitting on the removal spell, which would be a very good idea. Fish makes some mana. Equip the Commander's Plate, yep, to the Infect creature. Yeah, so blowing up Akiri from Fish. Fish hasn't recast Akiri at all, and Akiri would definitely be getting busy if it were still in play. But now she's kind of sitting just on this Plague Mirror. Ooh, gonna send it over to Delta. I mean, I feel like there's an arch enemy at the table, and I feel like it's us. If I were Fish, I think I'd be holding that back. Because also, like, if Delta has something, he probably uses it right here to not go to 9 poison. Although, I guess protection from colors is an issue. Yeah, they're up. He can get red. He could have red removal. Lion Sash gonna get rid of our Showdown of the Skalds. Unfortunate. Okay, yeah. So there's the Chaos Warp, and the problem with this is that we have this thing sitting out here, and like, if you see this thing, you should be on guard against Chandra's Ignition, right? You know. Yeah, that attack from Fish, I just don't think that was, like, super well advised. And I get that they can't see what's in our hand, but, like, they also play against me a lot and kind of know, you know. Should have a general sense that, like, I'm probably holding something, especially if I've been getting mask value all game, which we have. There's a Colossus Hammer. Those are pretty good. No free equips, though, so a little rough in that sense. That's a Nullspine Dragon, also a funny card with everything that's going on. Hold a Kloof Top? Yeah, we can hold this, I think. We do want to get the Blade Historian. No need to loot. Once again, still many good cards in our hand. But if we ever got land flooded or something, would have been able to dig out of that nice and easily. This is gonna get wild. This is each opponent? Each opponent, yep. And yeah, we have the mana left to cast that. Yeah, this should get silly. Here we go. This one into Delta, this one into Fish, this one into Delta. Get the Wooded Foothills back. What's that, probably like the 4th land with Sun Titan? Sun Titan is so incredibly good. Even if it's just a land every turn is really powerful. Because that's what allows us to do all this stuff in one turn. Actually, yeah, you know, if Fish played that Aethersworn Canonist, which she searched up, that makes it a lot harder to do the things that we're doing right here. So our creatures get double strike from the Blade Historian. This gives our red creatures trample and our white creatures vigilance, essentially. War Elemental is going to hit Fish and go to 40 power, and then go to 43? Only 40? Nope, okay. Sorry, that was the first hit. That was from the Evident thing. There's the double strike. Fish goes to negative 35. War Elemental hits, and War Elemental is now an 89-89. We're going to play the Clifftop Retreat, and then we will Chandra's Ignition, and I think this will probably do it, unless someone's got a deflecting spot or something like that. Cast a Chandra's Ignition, and Chandra's Ignite the table for 89. Good game. That was very exciting because I do not get to play War Elemental nearly as much as I want to play War Elemental. And half the time when I do play it, people blow it up because it is probably the biggest creature on the table. So that was a very exciting win. Yeah, that attack from Fish, because if opponent sits on a Chaos Warp, right, like we can't make that play. And then they live another turn, they could potentially wipe the board from there, and, you know, they give themselves an opportunity. But Fish, yeah, just getting overly aggressive, I think, when there's a clear arch enemy at the table. I think I would have held back if I were her. As far as this deck, this is not a fully optimized version of this deck. Like I said, Gisela, there's a few more red and white creatures like OG Tajik is probably pretty good because the Indestructible is just nice, but once you get the Battalion going, you're going to give it Trample, and then it's a 7/7 on the first combat, 12/12 on the second, not even counting Tori's ability. So, yeah, that's just a lot of damage on an Indestructible creature. Seems really good. Again, I was trying to try out some new things. We didn't get to look at the Reaver Cleaver, which is just recently available on Magic Online, but looks insanely good. This looks like Feast and Famine number 2, as far as I can tell. I think it's going to be about that good. Will go infinite with enough damage and an Aggravated Assault, which is always the thing to get excited about. Now they just need to reprint Aggravated Assault, and, you know, maybe someday print, like, a second Aggravated Assault. And I guess that's not entirely necessary, but I get quite a bit done with the first one, but you're probably talking about, like, almost CEDH at that point. But anyway, we got to see what the deck does. You play big red creatures, and then you give them Trample, and then they murder the table. And it's kind of a good time. Only got a couple hits in with Tori right there, but when you have a giant creature, you don't need to get necessarily a ton of hits in. Assuming that we didn't have the Chandra's Ignition right there, if opponents don't have removal, like they mostly had an up to that point, then, you know, we untap, War Elemental just goes in and is giant and all that stuff. Some concern that the dragons kind of get us in the air. They were set up for a decently large turn on their following turn. They had a lot of mana, they had haste, and they had their commander in play. So that's all a thing. There is some chance with the right combination of dragons that they could just one-shot us down. So anyway, hope you guys enjoy this look at big red trampoline creatures with Tori. Be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for watching. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel, vote on which decks I play next, or if you want to get some good games on Spell Table, be sure to check out my Patreon at the link below.